Welcome to I Married a Melchizedek, episode 14, where we talk about everything unity, unity consciousness, the divine unity field, and the unity living process, along with our very own and completely divine Miss H, Hazel Davies, head master unity living facilitator, who shares her fascinating experiences during her 18 plus year relationship and marriage with Jonathan C.R. Davies, her Melchizedek hubby, and all the wisdom gained along the way as an incredible intuitive healer and facilitator herself. If you're here for the first time and unfamiliar with the unity living process, or what exactly a Melchizedek is, or what they happen to have in common with Yeshua, those kinds of people, I invite you to check out our new website at unityliving.life and find out all about it. I'm your host, Renata Duma. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're so inclined, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified immediately when another episode of I Married a Melchizedek airs. Links to all shows will also be listed on the unityliving.life website. And just before I bring the divine Miss H on, I'd like to make a brief announcement. We started airing I Married a Melchizedek on Valentine's Day, February 14th of this year. And so with this episode, number 14, we're going to call it a wrap, but just for a while. At which point we'll be back with season 2 of I Married a Melchizedek with more of what we've been doing, plus some featured guests. So stay tuned for that in the upcoming weeks. With that said, now, once again, here's the divine Miss H. Hazel. Welcome to our last episode of season 1, episode 14.
Who would know? 14, February 14, 14. Yeah. Got to be some numerology in there.
There's got to be something there's no coincidences, right? There's no coincidences. I got that this morning, actually. It was interesting as I started to just make some notes for today's show. I realized that it was the 14th that we aired on, and today is, it will be the 14th episode, and it'll be airing on the 23rd. You have to add up all the numbers of the date when it'll be airing and see what that comes out to. That'll be interesting. Mm-hmm. Anyway, So as always, many thanks to our audience members who continue to send us really, really interesting questions. So let's get into it, shall we?
Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay, so are they. Okay. The following question was presented a few days ago, and that is, what is the significance, if anything, when accidents that seem so random happen? Goodness knows, I've had my fill of that in the last few days. So I'm curious to hear how you explain it. So over to you, Hazel.
Random generator. Well, it does happen. Actually, not very often, because so if a situation or an incident happens, and you have absolutely no trigger around it in any way, shape, or form, then you're squeaky clean of all your issues. Ha ha. Are we any of us?
Exactly.
If we have absolutely no reaction, nothing, then yes, I would say that could be termed as something that happens in the random generator. But really, everything that happens, if you have any reaction to it or any kind of reaction, emotional, whatever, it could be used as an excuse, let's say, oh, that's just the random generator. It doesn't bother me, but it really does. So that's the question: is does whatever happen, does it bother you? Is there a trigger? And if so, that's not really random, is it? Because then there is something to look at. That's how I would see it. But I know they say that, SHIT happens and also Shinola happens. I think it comes down to, is there a reaction? Is there a trigger? Mm. That's how I would see it anyway.
Okay. And you use the term random generator. It's like it's some sort of a thing. Can you explain?
Well, like the roulette wheel, going around and around. But is it random? Is there something that you are pulling in to yourself? So the question is it random?
So you're saying that the random generator is something that exists within the field that we are able to pull from?
Yes, because we always do, pull from it whatever we need to enable ourselves to evolve.
Right.
As we evolve by having the experiences and the lessons and all that. So right. We pull those circumstances and those people and everything in to help us. Whether we recognize it as help and whether we appreciate it as help is a different story.
Yeah, thanks a ton for that. But just
sorry.
Me apart, yeah.
So yeah, sometimes these incidents and things that happen, it's not too pleasant,
Now, of course, the next thing to extrapolate from that is, okay, so how do we find out what the message is? Like with messages from the body, you can kind of look it up, How do we? And I did look in the book. I mean, it does say that there is such a thing, and it's 11:11. It does say there's such a thing as a random occurrence. Just happens, and there is no rhyme or reason. It just happens.
Well, then if there is no rhyme or reason, then I would take advantage of it, whatever it is, whether it's random or not, and say, is there something for me to look at here? And if there isn't, well, I would let it go. But I would squeeze the juice out of every lemon that comes across my path.
Exactly.
That's how I do my work.
So how do we, let's say one of our clients comes to us and says, okay, well, guess what just happened? So of course we'll have an intuitive sense. It's much easier to assess someone else than it is to assess the self, because we have all of our blind spots, right? So what do you suggest for individuals if they're not working with a facilitator? In order to
they need to work with a facilitator. Because it's really hard to see your own issues. Maybe a lot of the time you can do your own work, but I think everybody needs somebody else who can look at something from a different perspective, or just to be there to listen to you, and then maybe you get your own different perspective on something. But it's really hard when you're in the middle of the forest to see the trees. It's really hard.
Right.
It is possible. It's entirely possible for people to do their own work, but generally speaking, everybody needs somebody else from time to time. Maybe not all the time, but from time to time.
And that just goes with the age-old understanding or wisdom that you can't fix a problem with the same mentality that created it.
No.
So we really do need the help. So
because they go outside the box.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, there you have it.
The work with the unity field or bubble, whatever you like to call it, that's what it makes personal work so much easier. So much easier.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, even in this,
You don't keep going around and around and around, you know, and then recreate the same thing again and again.
Yeah.
As you work with your bubble, your unity field, it goes down and down and down. It doesn't go back up again.
Exactly. Well, and as it does bring stuff up, there is also an awareness that that's what's happening, and and that you can put it into an easier perspective to analyze. And then there's basically a chronology of events too, because it will come up layer by layer by layer by layer as things are dissolved. So it's easier to go, oh, okay, I know that one. There's a little bit of that there. And okay, well, that I can release now. Right? So yeah, it's brilliant work.
Yeah.
So moving on, here's another great question I'm sure many will be able to relate to on some level. Most humans are plagued with incessant thought loops, which are 98% negative, like I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve that, or why would they like me? I'm nothing, or I guess I'll never amount to anything, just like my father or my mother said, or I don't deserve to be abundant. Why is this the human norm? And does the unity living work help with that? Great question. Over to you.
Well, they do. The thoughts go round and around and around until you say, wait a minute, I've had that one before. You know, and it'll go around and around until you say, hold on a minute, hold on, I've had that, I know that one.
Right.
And then that's how the work starts. So, and then you get to the point of actually seeing it coming, not even experiencing it. You say, oh, I'm not going there, you know, been there, done that. So you cut it off before it even happens. So it's all about doing personal work. Because if you don't do any personal work, yes, those thoughts, they're just going to go round and around in the old, you know, hamster wheel until you say stop, the magic word, just stop. Let's just see what this is all about. No.
Yeah, I know the significance of the word stop after our conversation yesterday. So
it's very powerful, very, very powerful, you know, stop and the word no, you know, that's another powerful one.
Absolutely. But
because
go ahead.
Those thoughts that you was talking about, those are all our issues. Those are all unresolved issues. They're not our natural state. There are unresolved trauma, unresolved issues, and they're going to keep going around and around, presenting themselves to you as a way for you to say, well, wait a minute, I am worthy. I am a good person. I don't necessarily have to be like my mother, my father, my sister, whatever. And that's the work.
Exactly. And instead of them running your life, once they're resolved, you are the master of your life. Yeah. Well, there you have it. So, are we ready? For a key feature on our show, another Jonathan story.
No, we have to I have to tell people about the effortless living.
Oh my goodness, where did that come from? Wait. All right, sorry. Rewind. That was at the top of the page. I started reading the bottom of the page.
We have to finish that one.
Blooper. I'm just gonna leave it in. I'm human, everyone. In case anyone was wondering, I'm human, and I make big boos.
Don't put it in the bloopers, eh?
We have a blooper reel. Oh my God, you're definitely getting a blooper reel. All right, so following up on our series of the 7 different Unity Living transmissions, let's talk about the final and most fabulous transmission, effortless living. And I know Jonathan created it during the time I knew him, as he felt it was the missing crest jewel of the entire Unity living process. So can you tell us about its origins and what makes it so important and literally life altering? Over to you.
Well, we got to the point doing all the protocols. We the last one at that point was the inter-service, which you know, we'd gone through all the other protocols and the anti-angst, which is cleaning the slate, and then we go into the inter-service, and then we're going, yeah, that's good, but what about our life? What about how our life works? Because going into service, yes, your life is good, everything's working, you're in balance, you know, the giving and the receiving and all that stuff, but that is outward. It is, you have got to the stage where that is the natural progression. When you do your work, you want to be part of something bigger, which entails you going out in whatever way that works for you. And then we kind of thought, yeah, but I would like my life to be kind of effortless. So that word effortless kept coming up, and Jonathan said, well, why don't we just have something that enables you to have that perfect effortless life?
Mm-hmm.
Not that things don't ever happen, because, you know, there will always be curveballs that come through, as you know, we all know that. No. But generally speaking, you get to that point that your life just works. It really just works. Everything seems to be happening effortlessly. And that was the key word. So it's more like it's kind of the icing on the cake. That's the reward. That is the reward for doing all the work, going through all the protocols, looking at all the dysfunctional patterns that you know you personally have, and then putting yourself out as the presence in the world, whatever that way means. And then your life just works. People will show up, which they've probably always been doing for a while, but situations show up, opportunities show up for you. The right people show up in the right time. So you're in divine time, you're in divine flow. And life just works. I mean, how nice is that?
Exactly.
So that is effortless living. I've had many clients that say, you know, it just works. Like, my life just works. It's effortless.
That's
right. Like, yes, great.
That's right. And yeah, there will always be curveballs, because, you know, I always say to my clients, you know, when do you think it's, you know, you've learned everything? Like, when do you think, when is that time? Right. And they're like, I don't know. What do you say? Well, as long as you're still on earth, you've got things to learn. So that never ends. But that said, for me personally, it is that divine flow. You said it in 2 words, divine flow. And it's also trusting in the divine flow. And so when we get that destabilizing, oh my God, what's happened with this? And then you remember to align yourself, right? And you go into that space of, no, I'm in charge here. I'm in the divine flow. I'm going to allow this to transpire the way it needs to, with the highest and greatest intention coming forward. Mm-hmm. And it always does. Mm-hmm. So no matter what happens or what the situation is, as long as we're aligned, as long as we've done our work, then the divine flow takes over, and we learn our lessons, and those around us sometimes have to learn lessons. Mm-hmm. Situations need to change for whatever reason. Sometimes we're not getting the message. Hello. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, if we do align ourselves with that and have faith in that divine flow and in that presence, that divine presence that we begin to invoke from the first day that we start our unity living journey, because it is an intention to live in service and mm-hmm. in the divine flow. Mm-hmm. So to me, that is the greatest cherry on top of the icing on top of the cake. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. There you go. What else can we say? Yeah. All right. So now it's time. Now it's time for the story. And I have no idea what you're going to say, again, this is a big surprise to me. So look at that smile. Look, she's
well, it's very interesting. This one is very interesting because for all the other sessions that we've had, I have known very clearly which story I'm going to tell. And this one I don't.
Oh, okay.
Because I was told that he has something to say.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
It said, as it is the end of the episode, of the first episode,
reason, yeah,
he would like to say a few words.
Wow, I'm just getting goosebumps all over. Okay.
So shall I just kind of wing it here?
Wing it, baby. Wing it. Do what we do best.
He says one of the very first elements that is so important for everyone to understand is this element of trust. As Renata just mentioned briefly about trusting and believing. He's saying, do you really understand what trust is? So really, trust is having the belief in something that is not yet seeable. You cannot yet see it, but you can believe that it is possible. It's more in the sequence of, starting with hope, which he says, I call it the cycle of knowledge. So you start with, you hope something is going to be true, and then you move into believing, and that is a part of trust. And then the next stage is the acting as if. So that's faith. And then it fulfills itself because the energy is behind it and is moving towards that. So what he's saying is that the issue is lack of trust. It's not trust itself. It is the lack of trust. It's because you have trust. It is an innate quality in every human. You have trust. What has been covered up so provides the lack of trust. What does he have to say about that? So he said, if you can work through your trust issues, it will help you enormously with other issues, because of course it comes down to the betrayal, the abandonment, and all that stuff. But that element of trust is so powerful because it stops you doing things. This question of vulnerability, question of rejection, all those things, they stop you living your full life. So what he wants you to know is that if you call on him, he will give you probably a word or two to help with the situation that you are presently in, if one is having an issue with trust. He says, I'm here, but you have to ask me. He said, and he also says that all of unity is most of the people who are listening to these episodes already have a unity field. of course, what he's saying is if you don't have one, then you may consider to get one. Because it will really help. We're not doing an advertising job here. It's just because this Jonathan, he says, I'm a multiverse being. I'm not just in this universe. Mm-hmm. So he says, I travel a lot. I see things from all different perspectives, different ways of being in different galaxies. I don't know. he's like travel a lot. He's showing me with his bag. He's on the road. But he said he's very, very interested in the human condition and how to help. And he's there if you ask him.
Wow.
He says, that's all I have to say. Okay.
Wow.
That's it. He's gone.
Wow. Thank you for that, Hazel.
Did that make sense? I have no idea what I just said.
Of course it makes sense. It fell into perfect alignment with all of the things that we were talking about today. All of those negative thoughts that keep coming up in your head, that human condition where the ego is driving it. What's the solution? The solution is to allow those things to come up. But the key, as Jonathan says, is the trust that they will be resolved. The trust. I called it the divine flow and the faith that once one is in the divine flow, then one cannot but have the outcome that is the highest and greatest good. So, I had my little kerfuffle, this last week with my kitty cat, and I kept asking him, I said, John, what is this about? What is this about? And he kept saying, relax. And I'm like, relax? How can I relax? I can't relax. And then you know what? Because I did relax, I held back on acting on stuff, the most perfect solution presented itself 2 days later. Mm-hmm. It could not have presented itself before, but it did present itself after. So, and I think the message was, the message was a little stronger.
Yeah, you have to get things in the right order. A lot of the trust elements are, well, I'll do it when, right, or I'll do it if. Well, if you kind of do it, then the other happens. You get the cart behind the horse. Is it the cart behind the horse? Yes, the horse pulls the cart. If you get the cart in front of the horse, nothing happens. It can't go anywhere. There's no movement. And then when you have lost trust, it's hard to get it out of the ditch. You kind of run the car off into the ditch, and it takes a lot of pulling it out. So if one would help somebody else if they have trust issues, the way to assist them is to be a totally open book, no secrets, nothing,
right,
so that they can learn how to trust again. So they're taking those blankets off, those blankets off the essence of the value of trust, and be able to repair that and be able to trust again, because it's a beautiful thing when you can trust. You just know in the depth of your being that you're taken care of. You can trust, and I just get the total goosebumps on that.
I just know it too.
You just know it, and it's when you can get to that point, it's very effortless.
I'm hearing the essence of self-mastery.
Yeah, it really. Yeah, we talk about the umbrella issues and the abandonment and the betrayal leading to lack of trust and and I see that key thing, which is what Jonathan just said, that trust element of trust is just so important, because it means that you can trust whatever is going on.
in this world now where we look around and we see that the veils are lifting, and really we have been trusting blindly and badly in a lot of things that we should have never, ever put our trust in. And I think that coming up today is extremely important, because it's almost as a human race, we are having to reevaluate our trust, but more so our discernment.
Yes.
Discernment.
Absolutely.
What
absolutely
can be trusted.
Yes.
And what should not be trusted.
Yes, absolutely.
And why?
Yes. Yes. So that was what he wanted to tell us and to make a point of.
Well, I was going to ask for a message for humanity, but I think we just got it.
Yeah.
We just got it. Oh, I just got goosebumps again. Thank you. Thank you. So, Hazel, I see we're getting close to the end of today's showtime. Everyone, thank you for watching episode 14 of I Married a Melchizedek, the final episode of season 1. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Hazel and I are going to take a little break and return to begin season 2, all refreshed, revved up, and ready to go and make more bloopers. We're going to take the time to plan our next season and invite special guests that will be of great interest to you, our beloved viewers. So till then, I'm your host, Renata Duma, or RaDa, wishing you brilliant days ahead in the full flow of all creation, full of joy, health, true abundance, and positive outcomes in the right trust, using the right discernment. And we'll see you once again on the other side of 3D very soon. Master Unity Living Facilitator and partner of Melchizedek, Jonathan C.R. Davies, Hazel Davies. Thank you for yet another wonderful show and for all that you do for the entire Unity Living community worldwide. And from my heart to yours, it's an honor.
Thank you. And thank you, Renata, for organizing these episodes. It's been fun.
And thanks to all of you who've supported us with your comments and sent us great questions. With much love from Hazel and I to you till we meet again in season 2 of I Married a Melchizedek. See you then.
Thank you.